So yeah, I watched your video, and well, I figured might as well try to make comments on it as the video progresses. The first one is that environmentalists are anti-human for the fact that we're trying to, well, not we, they are, they're trying to stop, because I do sort of consider myself an environmentalist to a degree, because I think that if we try to stop spending so much shit, it'd go a lot better. But it's not so much, hey, your shit's bad. It's that, there could probably be a lot healthier alternatives, just the fact that people don't want to spend money on it. Now, I haven't researched this DDT yet, um, you know, but, I know the whole car situation, the whole idea of being against these cars is that you don't really seem to be talking about um, the miles per gallon and how clean these cars are. Because I mean, they could be great. They could be like the best cars in the world. But I think the only reason environmentalists would get angry is if they were like spewing out stuff. Because I mean, we still are trying to get we have the technology to make hybrid cars. We have the technology to make hydrogen cars. They're around. There are hydrogen stations all over California. They're the only state with them right now. It's just the fact that, I know I'm from the South, and that's where a lot of the big oil tycoons are. So, I mean, of course, big oil tycoons, they still want to line their pockets before this whole fiasco goes under, because eventually we are going to run out of oil. We are going to run out of oil. I mean, I'm surprised, I was surprised when the hydrogen car came out, people weren't rushing that shit. I'm very surprised. Well, I'm surprised people weren't, but I'm surprised the fact that I was surprised. Because I should have seen that whole fiasco ahead. But I mean, you know, a lot of the environmentalist ideology is not anti-human. It's the shit we're doing is wrong. We could just take a little bit of a step, spend that extra $2 or something. You know what I mean? Just to make things a little bit healthier. Because I mean, that's how that's how it should be. We should be trying to find cleaner ways of doing stuff, not just what that is. Um, uh, Try to see the next part. Um, the next thing about the man that locked his daughter and raped her multiple times and had children. It is. I agree with you. The fact that the fact they're giving the option of a dog and shit like that. That's pretty retarded. I'm gonna admit that. That is retarded. But the idea of going, let's just kill him, is stupid. The idea of going, let's not try to rehabilitate him. And the other thing you have to remember is this is, I'm not sure how Europeans view murder or rape or anything like that, but it's a different culture and different time, really. I mean, 5,000 years ago, I mean, not 5,000, 500 years ago, I mean, it was more so, I mean, if you read things like Dante's Inferno, it's more so, lying and stealing were considered evil, where rape and murder weren't considered that bad. So you have to remember all morals, all the moral values that you supposedly say are so good are really just relative. Morals and right and wrong are relative to the situation, they're relative to the person. That's all morals are. Literally, one man's trash is another man's treasure, one man's right is another man's wrong. You can't say one thing's different than another because it isn't. I will agree with you that it is wrong. I do believe my morals say it's wrong that he did that, but it's also better to try to rehabilitate him and try to do that. Cause I mean, shit, might as well try. I mean, the attitude you're pointing towards him is the same attitude as being poured towards the attitude that you're pointing towards that guy is the same reason that we have kids that go into high school and they're still gangbangers and they leave gangbangers because they're given this whole attitude, well, they don't even deserve the chance. You're doing the exact same thing. And if you give him the exact same idea that, oh, he can't change, then he's not. It's the same reason why, kids that are in gangs or whatever in their school, they're like, oh, I shouldn't try. They're the exact same reason why, since the media shows kids a bunch of horny little motherfuckers and they're never going to change. That's why a lot of kids are like that, because they're like, we can't get out of that stereotype, might as well do it. Might as well have some fun. Same for a lot of these things that are wrong. I mean, just give him a chance. I'm not saying he's right. I'm saying that's horrible. But if we can find a way to get him to we can find a way to make him realize that was morally wrong in our culture, that was something that you shouldn't do in our culture, then by all means try. By all means. I mean, you can't just be like, you can't just do that. I mean, your whole exponential growth rate, I should start talking about that. We live in America. We live in a society where people spend $200 on a pair of shoes. People are not going to start self-rationing. Now, if this was about 100, 200 years ago, even if it was like the 50s, people would be smart. In the 50s, they probably would have been smart enough to do this. But we live in such... I mean, come on. Have you seen some of the people in this country? Have you seen some of the mainstream buyers? Have you seen them? They're not gonna care. As a matter of fact, as people find out that there's less oil and the prices are gonna go up, people are gonna buy more. As a matter of fact, your variable saying it's gonna be longer is gonna turn it into being shorter. If anything, you're disproving yourself with that theory. Because, I mean, people are just retarded. People are gonna panic. People are already panicking. I mean, people are gonna start trying to get as much as they can, try to last as long, because people refuse to try to change their ways, and they much rather panic and try to find a way around it. I mean, come on, it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna work at all. I mean, it's not gonna work. With the end of my video, I would like to talk about the whole Marxist communist thing. And in theory, Marxism and communism is a very good theory. In theory. I'm talking about just in theory. Because in theory, it's more so about the people. Because it's taking the power from the big, powerful people that screw with little people and attempting to spread it out. They're at least trying to go, yo, this is wrong. The czars are being horrible people. They're fucking everything over. The bourgeoisies are gonna fucking revolt one day. That was Marx's entire theory. Was that eventually one day, which in most societies this has happened, that the middle class is going to get fed up of the upper and higher classes, especially, and you saw this in, the American Revolution, the French Revolution, the Russian Revolution. The middle class got pissed off at the nobles and the higher up, and they ended up banding together because they were tired of it. And that is what one of the big things about that theory is, that people do not like being bottom. People do not like being the ones that get spit on. So they're going to try to do that. So the entirety of communism is to prevent that from happening, to prevent a corrupted society, to prevent it and cause more opportunities and more everything. It's just there to try to help things. It may not always. I'm not going to say that it doesn't, but it's attempting. It's better than just sitting there and go, oh, well, things are okay as they are. Because even in things like democracy, there are still big, horrible things. I mean, we were stuck with Bush for 4 years. Come on. But I don't want to get into that. I've already strayed around too much in my videos, but, I mean, just... It seems that you're just... It seems that you're just taking ideologies and just pushing them to their farthest extremes and just, anti-environmentalists. You're trying to, like, take a group of people that a majority of people sees evil and just label them as something they're not. Because I admit, groups like PETA and other environmentalists, they'll sometimes go too far. But even I have to get PETA, I gotta give them a clap, because, I mean, they're doing shit that they realize how the mainstream media works. They realize that if you're the most out there, and you're the craziest, and you're the weirdest motherfuckers, and you're the most hated, that you get more attention. That works. I mean, shit, it works in soap operas, it works in cartoons. You pay more attention to the bad guy than the good guy, really. So if you look like a douchebag, then whatever, because there's going to be a small percentage that thinks you're good. I mean, hell, it even works in pro wrestling.
remember I used to be a wrestling fan, and there'd still be people that were like hardcore, you know, whatever the bad guy was. People would still be fans, and they become even bigger fans. I mean,